Hey, hi, how you doing? This is the Gamertron, and welcome back to the Gamertron Show. Multiplayer and single player, two very different, two very unique, and two very fun experiences all on their own. However, something odd has been going on a lot lately with video games. Many video game developers this year made their games to try and combine single player and multiplayer, some succeeding, some utterly failing. Titanfall did a multiplayer campaign of sorts, which was really just a few multiplayer matches with some cutscenes going on in the top corner. Destiny supposedly tried to mix single player and multiplayer, but encountering a few other players walking around in the world while you're going on to your next single player mission isn't all that immersive and isn't all that fun. It's more of a nice little gimmick, I suppose. And having some missions unavailable till you complete certain strike missions that require you to work with co-op buddies. Works in some areas, not in others. However, one game that actually did this pretty well, and which surprisingly very few people mention, is Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs surprisingly blended multiplayer and single player surprisingly well. While you're exploring the open world or heading to your next mission or just goofing around, a random player may invade your game. Or you may get a contract to invade another player's game. Same thing with Dark Souls, since Dark Souls 2 was released this year. Dark Souls has also been able to seamlessly blend single player and multiplayer in together, and that game's been doing this for a while now. Also, to go back to Watch Dogs allowed you to access the multiplayer from within the single-player game. You didn't have to go to a separate menu. Once you were in the game, you could play multiplayer and single-player at your leisure simultaneously whenever you want. But I'm noticing the growing trend, especially in games this year, of developers and games trying to merge single-player and multiplayer and almost trying to make them sort of one. And now this brings up the question. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Cause there's positives and negatives to both sides. Obvious positive is, while you're playing single player, while you're playing by yourself, you could just have a friend drop in, drop out. Or have a public player, a random player, randomly join your game and mix things up. Give you a little surprise. But then the obvious negative is an always online internet connection. And if the game merges single player and multiplayer, then half the game is totally useless, and some of the single player aspects may be broken without internet. Hell, you may not be able to play the game at all without internet. But then again, I see what developers are going for. They're trying to innovate, they're trying to do what has always been talked about, merge single player and multiplayer simultaneously in one, make it seamless. And while that is commendable, there are people out there who just want a single-player experience, who just want a multiplayer experience, or who just want them completely separate from one another. There's also the issue with assholes and trolls, players who are just looking to make other players' lives miserable for their own amusement. I've even encountered some of this. I encountered a player who wasn't even interested in completing his objective and hacking my phone. He just wanted to kill me because he felt like it, and by killing me, he made me reset my checkpoint, spawn on the other side of the map, and I had to spend a good 10 minutes trying to get back to where I was. And in Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2, this actually happened to me in both games, I encountered a troll player who invaded my game, wasn't interested in fighting me, found a hiding place, and once a player invades your game in Dark Souls or Dark Souls 2, you are stuck in that specific area. You can't leave. I couldn't find these troll players because they were hiding so well, and I ended up having to rage quit, forcing me to respawn at the nearest checkpoint and have to walk back and battle my way through back to where I was before. So you can obviously see the hindrance with combining multiplayer and single player. You may be having a good time playing by yourself, then some asshole joins your game and ruins your experience. But then again, there is also that added benefit of playing by yourself, just playing single player, but then a friend comes online and just joins your game. Just like that. You don't have to quit the game, you don't have to go to a separate menu, because the game is simultaneously single player and multiplayer. Your friend instantly just joins your game. Or maybe a friendly player actually joins your game and actually helps you out, and you end up making a new friend. Even though you were just playing single player, having fun by yourself, you end up meeting a nice new person who helps you out and gives you a more enjoyable experience. Same thing if you run into a group of people when you were just playing single player. There's definitely the potential for having a ton of fun with a game that merges single player and multiplayer. But there are also the added problems of trying to get it just right, so just having other players join your game or seeing other players while you're playing single player isn't meaningless, or avoiding asshole players, keeping asshole players who just want to hinder your progress and annoy other players. And the added fact, the game may become unplayable. What was once a single player game that doesn't require internet, say your internet becomes crappy or gets turned off or shuts down or whatever, say you lose internet and you lose a perfectly good game that was perfectly good on single player but didn't need internet. SimCity, online DRM, I'm looking at you. However, when looking at Watch Dogs and when looking at the Dark Souls games, you definitely see the potential. You definitely see the innovation and the fun that can arise from such an idea, combining single player and multiplayer. I just don't want to see it in all my games, and all upcoming games. Well, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Let's see what happens in the future. Will this become a growing trend, or is it just a one-off thing that happened this year? Is this something you guys want in your video games, or would you prefer it would be hidden away, put in a corner, not talked about, not touched? Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed the video, agree with me. If you liked anything about this video, hit the like button. It helps me and it helps the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love reading comments. I would love to hear what you guys have to think about the subject. Leave your comments, please. If you're new to the channel and you just stumbled across this video, why not subscribe for some more good old gaming content and check out some of my older videos, as well as subscribe to keep up to date with my new ones. This has been the Gamertron, this has been a video, and I will see you guys later.